How many bears?
One bear.
One bear
One
versus
bear.
one Viking?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the bear in that situation, yeah. Yeah.
We're back in a new location outdoors.
Upsets.
Power lines
Yeah.
taking out our old location. Not so nicey. But you know what is nicey?
We got the power.
We have upsets.
Yeah.
We do this week over week. Not too bad. We've got a pretty decent record on it.
Do we?
But what we do have is we're not taking Jacksonville anymore because they might be the worst. What we are taking this week is Chargers over the Ravens as an upset. Now, 3-point favorite in the Ravens here. Obviously, a decent matchup. You have probably arguably at least two top 10, if not two top 5 teams, if you want to put the Chargers in that category. But tell me, Mike, Chargers beating the Ravens at home. Why isn't that an upset pick?
So, I mean, the Chargers are playing good football under Harbaugh, Dirk. Where it's an upset is if you watch that Cincinnati Bengals game. The Chargers did everything they could to Charger, and somehow they held on. I mean, that's a positive, optimistic sign of culture change under Harbaugh, hanging tight in a close game. I would say where I doubt it slightly is I really do think Baltimore is slightly more dynamic than Cincinnati still at this point. Where I do see some reason for optimism, though, and the one glaring issue with the Ravens team is the passing defense has been suspect.
Name a receiver on the Chargers.
Lad McConkey. Lad, baby. Yeah.
Johnson.
Yeah, Quentin Johnson. Yeah,
There
I mean,
you go.
you have a couple of guys there who are, starting to emerge. It's a young offense. I still think probably in my pick right here is going to go to Baltimore, but it's not a bad option.
Next upset we have for you. Kansas City losing last week. We're not taking that this week. I tricked you on that. But what we are taking is the Patriots beating the Dolphins in Miami, Mike.
Yeah, well, explain.
Patriots are one of those teams that they put up ridiculous games. One day they'll be in it. The next day they're not. Next day they beat the Cincinnati Bengals. And even how they performed last week, keeping very, very close. What was it, a 5-point game that was in it all the way to the end?
Yeah.
I think this Patriots team is well coached, and frankly, they don't have everything there that they need to be successful, but Drake May gives them a completely different aspect that they weren't having with Jacoby Brissett. I think that they stay in this one. I'm not convinced Tua is back at 100%, and I'm not convinced that really that offense is firing at all cylinders. So I think there's a potential. It's an interdivisional game. Why not, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, it is an upset. Granted, Miami is not very good to begin with, so, by record. I mean, there's a lot of
They don't
talent
have
on the
Malik
team.
Willis running the offense.
But, yeah,
Or whoever is there. Tyler Huntley? Who was running that offense when he was gone?
Jay Feely.
Skylar Thompson.
Jay Feely. So it's not a terrible pick. I think I'd still probably like Miami to stay on the very, very fringes of the playoff, like the outside playoff fringe. If they keep on winning, they can sort of get back into it. I'm going to pick Miami here.
Next game we have, and this is probably the biggest matchup, probably the biggest upset of the week as well. Interdivisional game in the NFC North, you have the Bears.
Yeah.
At Soldier Field taking on the Vikings. I think this one you'll see Caleb Williams have a rebound game. Not a very good season for him thus far. Maybe the worst rookie out of all of the rookie quarterbacks performance-wise.
Struggling.
Especially with the talent he has around him. However, in this matchup, Bears, the best, if not the most vicious animal mascot there is in the NFL, taking on the Vikings. And while in a Bear versus Viking matchup, just in the real world scenario, that's what's going to happen in this game.
Are we saying that Bears are going to take Vikings in real life?
Yeah.
It's interesting how many Bears.
One bear.
One bear versus
bear.
one Viking?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the bear in that situation, yeah. I think this is your best option so far for an upset, Dirk. I think Chicago at home is due for a decent performance. Williams is due for a good game. The Vikings haven't played great football the last couple of weeks. Darnold not looking nearly as sharp.
They barely beat the Titans.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't even like. That's why I don't understand why they're in the top 5 in like NFL.com power rankings. Like, I get that they had a great start to the season, but Darnold's been looking pretty normal lately. I mean, first quarter, great. After that, not so nice.
The top of the NFC North starting to plateau a little bit, other than the Lions, I think. This is an interesting one. This would be on my upset watch list. I think it's the best one we've named so far. However, I'm going to throw one out to you. And I think it is coming.
Don't do it.
It's going to sound crazy, but I think that it's going to happen.
No.
The Colts upset the Lions.
No!
Yeah. I think fantasy owners everywhere are finally going to rejoice.
Who's starting?
Richardson.
That's my point.
Richardson
Why,
is starting.
if Flacco or Falco.
Boom or bust. Yeah.
No.
Boom or bust with Richardson. Looked great last week. Why I think it happens this time, Derek, is I think the Lions have had certain games where the run defense has been very suspect. I think the Colts at home put together a really sharp game. Taylor goes for about 180. The Colts play ball control and win the game.
All right. If it was a different season, different year with Taylor, I'm all for you. But we've all seen Taylor's fantasy performances this year. Has Taylor been very good? No. With a quarterback like Anthony Richardson, I think they're going to hone in on that, Mike. And they love playing man-to-man coverage. Their safeties, they give them the opportunity to do that. I think they bear down much more on this, and I think that you'll see the Lions run up another score just like last week. What was it, 56-9 or something like that? 52-9. I mean, it's ridiculous. I think you're going to see something like that. You're going to require Anthony Richardson to take this on his shoulders and really aid in that run performance. Do you know what I'm saying? It's going to have to require a lot of RPO type of stuff, and I just don't see it, Mike. A different year, maybe.
I get where you're coming from, but we've also seen certain games where Goff has been suspect. He's turned the ball over. Colts are a much better team than the Jaguars right now, too. That's the other thing. I just see the Colts eking out a weird, close win.
Like they do this season.
Doesn't end up hurting the Lions that much. I mean, it jeopardizes the 1 seed. I don't know if it really hurts them in the long run, but this is just a weird game. I think that they're due for an L. Another game, Dirk, I'm going to put on upset watch.
No, don't do it.
I'm not going to pick it, but it's upset watch.
No.
The Raiders!
No, it's not.
Yes, the Raiders are actually due for a decent showing. The team is bad. Some people think they're trying to tank.
Who's at quarterback?
It's going to be Minshew.
How do you know?
It is somehow. There's just going to be a weird game. Denver has looked great the last couple of weeks, especially against Atlanta, but they've had a weird streak of playing clean games against very banged-up defenses in the NFC South. Atlanta, another one. They got the Saints completely depleted. For whatever reason, I think we're going to get a correction game. I'm not saying the Raiders are winning it, but it's going to be really close. Denver, we'll say
low-scoring, high-scoring.
The Raiders cover this one. Relatively low-scoring.
So it's a 6-point spread.
Yeah,
right now, Denver has a 6-point, spread, victory, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, the only reason Mike's taking this is because I play him in fantasy this week. Josh Allen's sitting out, so I had to put Bo Nix in. That's why you're saying this, Mike.
Yeah, you're going to lose. Yeah, Broncos by 3.